Good YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former undisputed heavyweight world champion, Hall of Famer, iconic superstar boxer, Iron Mike Tyson, he weighs in on a possible undisputed super middleweight showdown between undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweethand Plants, and of course 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who is currently the unified super middleweight world champion. He holds the WBC, WBA, WBO, and Ring Magazine super middleweight world title, that being Saul Canelo Alvarez. With that said, we all know that Mike Tyson is a huge fan of Canelo Alvarez, okay? And Mike Tyson, he weighs in on this showdown and the fact that it seems to have hit a snagging point, okay, a roadblock, and it's taken some time to get an agreement and a confirmation on the fight itself. That looks like it's going to be taking place in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend. It could possibly be September 11th, ironically. Saul Canelo Alvarez, 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 38 big wins by way of knockout. He's 30 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach, okay? Last time we saw him in the ring was May of this year when he took on the then undefeated 2-division world champion, who was the WBO super middleweight world champion, British superstar boxer Billy Joe Saunders, in which he got a TKO stoppage victory over Billy Joe Saunders to pick up his WBO title. With that said, after the fight, it was widely speculated that he'll be facing off against Caleb Plant in September, okay? Now, Caleb Plant, his demands have changed, and he's asking for big money. Caleb Plant, 21 wins, no losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. He is 29 years of age. He stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. And the last time we saw him in the ring was January of this year when he took on defeated IBF mandatory challenger Caleb Truitt, and he got a unanimous decision victory. With that said, Caleb Plant has looked at the landscape of Canelo Alvarez's last few fights. He fought Caleb Smith, who was the undefeated WBA super middleweight world champion. They fought for the WBC vacant title that was vacated by undefeated 2-time WBC super middleweight world champions, Mexican superstar boxer David Benavidez, who missed weight on the scale and lost his belt on the scale. The belt was vacated. Canelo Alvarez petitioned to fight for the belt. He actually initially petitioned to fight Avenue Yildirim, for the vacant WBC title, but that was denied. And he ended up fighting for unification bout with both belts on the line. Caleb Smith's WBA and Canelo Alvarez fighting for the WBC vacant belt. He beat Caleb Smith. Caleb Smith received a reported $6 million for that fight. Then he moved on and he fought Billy Joe Saunders, as I just stated, in May of this year. And it was reported that Billy Joe Saunders received $8 million, $2 million more dollars than Caleb Smith did, and more was at stake, right? Now you have more belts at stake. 2 belts was on the line against Caleb Smith for $6 million. 3 belts are on the line against Billy Joe Saunders, and the Ring Magazine belt was also on the line. Now he beat Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders reportedly got $8 million. Now he's going into a fight with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant wants $10 million. $2 more million than Billy Joe Saunders received. Why? Because there's more on the line. Now there's 4 belts. The IBF belt is coming into play, and the Ring Magazine, and lineage. Okay, so there's more at stake. There's more on the line. And Caleb Plant is saying, well, now give me $2 more million. It'll be a cool $10 million for Caleb Plant. The snagging point here is, according to reports, is that the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, is looking to sign Canelo Alvarez, who's a network free agent currently right now as it stands after his fight with Billy Joe Saunders. He signed a 3-fight deal with DAZN, for that fight against Billy Joe Saunders and for a fight against Caleb Smith. And they threw in the fight with Avenue Yildirim, okay, a tune-up fight, a stay busy fight, who was the WBC mandatory challenger. So with that said, now he's a network free agent, and according to reports, the PBC would love to sign Canelo Alvarez for a 3-fight deal, and he's reluctant to do so. Reports are that Canelo Alvarez is willing to sign a 2-fight deal, which would see him fight Caleb Plant in September, and then possibly a showdown with David Benavidez, who's with the PBC, or a showdown with two-division world champion, undefeated junior middleweight and middleweight world champion, who is the WBC reigning middleweight world champion, and that is superstar boxer Jamal Lyons Only Charlo. He could possibly move up to 168. According to his trainer, Rodney Shields, longtime trainer, that Jamal would happily move up to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez if the opportunity presented itself. But, David Benavidez would be, a huge option as well. But he doesn't want to have a 3-fight plan, okay? That would mean he would fight Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, and Jamal Charlo. I would love to see that as a fan, but Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to tie himself into any networks, okay? So with that stated, Canelo Alvarez, that's the stagnant point that hit, it seems to be with this negotiations. Nonetheless, Mike Tyson, he weighs in on this, and Mike Tyson says it doesn't matter when the fight gets signed. Now, Mike Tyson is doing an interview with longtime friend of Caleb Plant and Badu Jack, and Badu Jack lets Mike Tyson know that Caleb Plant is a friend of his, and Mike Tyson says, "I'm sorry to hear that. Prepare for a funeral, because Canelo Alvarez is going to walk right and destroy Caleb Plant." He says, anything can happen in boxing when you put two human beings in the ring, in a boxing ring. So anything can happen. But that's not going to happen. Canelo Alvarez is going to walk right through him, destroy this kid. And he told Badu Jack to prepare for a funeral. I suggest his friends and family prepare for a funeral. Wow. Giving Caleb Plant no respect and no chance of winning this fight. And I think that's a mistake. I think that Caleb Plant's skill set, his size, his athletic ability, his slickness can give Canelo Alvarez tons and tons of problems, a lot of problems, okay? Caleb Plant knows how to box. He knows how to use his distance and range. He knows how to, use his footwork. He knows how to, stay slick, stay safe, right? And he has power, okay? A lot of people thought that when he fought Uskatiki was going to knock him out. He was seen as the boogeyman division, and it was the polar opposite. Caleb Plant dropped him twice, and won the fight running away. With that said, now we have to see, Uskatiki is not Canelo Alvarez, obviously, but Caleb Plant being at 6'1", Canelo Alvarez at 5'8", 5'7.5", really, he's going to have a 4-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez, and he has a 4-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. The difference between Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Smith, and Caleb Plant is that Caleb Plant is a lot slicker. He seems to have a higher ring IQ, and his confidence is at an all-time high. He truly believes that he's going to win this fight. And he has more power, I believe, than Caleb Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, being a slick southpaw, seemed to present Canelo Alvarez an issue, but he didn't want to assert himself. His game plan seemed to be all over the place. He didn't seem to commit to anything. He was using his herky-jerky style. It seemed like the moment was too big for Billy Joe Saunders, even though he was having tons of success in the fight. But Canelo Alvarez stayed calm, cool, and collective. He has a poker face. He doesn't make many mistakes. You have to capitalize on what Canelo Alvarez's weaknesses are, and that's his feet. He has slow feet. So they're educated, but they're slow. So that's what Caleb Plant has to use his footwork to offset Canelo Alvarez's hand speed, okay? Because Canelo Alvarez has very fast hands. Now, Caleb Plant, I believe, they have the same amount of hand speed, I believe, if Caleb Plant may have slightly faster hands. But Canelo Alvarez is more accurate, okay? He's more precise, okay? And he has a lot of experience, so he has more confidence, okay? His ring IQ is extremely high. He always knows where he's at in the ring at all times. He knows how to set up his punches. He studies his opponents very well. He breaks his opponents down, and that makes him, extremely dangerous, okay? And so when it comes to Caleb Plant, he's going to have to be perfect for 12 rounds. He's going to have to outbox Canelo, and ultimately his stamina is going to have to be at an all-time high, and he's going to have to use his footwork and his ring IQ to understand where he's at in the ring at all times and to understand what Canelo Alvarez is doing at all times. So I believe that it's a mistake on the part of Mike Tyson to just dismiss Caleb Plant and to feel like he's just going to get, walk right through, and to use such words to describe how he's going to lose is pretty strong on the part of Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson is never short on words, and we know he's a fan of Canelo Alvarez and Canelo Alvarez's style, as many people are. So with that said, I do believe this fight will get done. Canelo Alvarez and his team are stating that, if they can't get a deal done, then Canelo Alvarez is planning to move to light heavyweight, back up to light heavyweight, challenge Arthur Beterbiev, who's the unified IBF WBC light heavyweight world champion. He's undefeated. Or WBA light heavyweight world champion Dimitri Bivol, who's undefeated as well. Both guys which seem to be willing to fight Canelo Alvarez. We know Dimitri Bivol is with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn, who co-promotes Canelo Alvarez and Canelo Alvarez Promotions. So those are easy fights to get made on the zone. Okay, so with that said, I do believe that a deal will get done for Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez. I do believe that Caleb Plant does have a chance to win this fight. We just have to see if the moment is too big for Caleb Plant. Would he be able to slow the moment down? Ignore the atmosphere, ignore the moment, because it's going to be like no other he's ever been in. And will he be able to control his, adrenaline, slow the fight down, and stay on his P's and Q's? He has all the tools to do so. Ultimately, he has to, he has to play it out. Okay, so he has to carry it out, follow it through. So with that said, we know what Canelo Alvarez is going to bring to the ring, but Mike Tyson is giving Caleb Plant zero chance to win this fight. Hopefully it comes through, looking like it could be September 11th or it could be September 18th. Let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for you. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather the Heat Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.